Okay, are we live? So I never know at the start, whenever I start these streams, I never know if anyone can see me. So type 1 if you can see and hear me. I'm going to check on the on my phone. I can't see any information on here at the moment. So we've got Sir Fonzie Daz in the house. Hi to Sir Fonzie Daz. M3D1806. Is it Audrey Harding is here? Elizabeth Donnelly is in the house. We've got ones coming in. Thanks, Mildred. Thanks to Richard. David Howard. Darren Bradbury. Hi to everyone. I can see my chat now. I couldn't see it before. Angela Locke. Hi to everyone. Deep into my quest, I scaled huge. So if you can hear me okay, I'm not too low. I'm not. I think one of the problems I've noticed sometimes when I'm doing these live streams is I'm out of sync. Sometimes my voice is out of sync, but I don't know why that happens. Hi to Larry. Jonathan Nicholson. Hi. April Ortiz. Hi. So we've got a few people coming in now. June Law in the West Midlands. Bitcoin Wolf Club. Have you heard about Comet L3 Atlas approaching our circle? Another comet. Well, it's been a while since we've had a comet. A decent comet. Anyway, hi to Lee, Audrey and Lucy in Spennymoor. Paul Drakefield is in the house. So we've got a few people coming in. And I've got a bit of a special one for you tonight. I want to talk about the Perseid Meteor Shower, which we've just had. Did any of you see any shooting stars flying across the sky? We went on a Perseid star party. We went out on Tuesday night. I did a video on it. Did you see the video? That's the first video. Thanks, Audrey. That was the first video that I've done for this channel in 2.5 months. That wasn't a live stream. I was so glad to get that video out, and it's done really well. I think it's got over 2,000 views, which is great. I don't know how it's taken me so long to put a video out like that, but hopefully I won't be that long before I put another video out. I don't want to leave it that long. My idea is to try and do a video every week, but that didn't quite happen. So I went 2.5 months without a video. The last video I did before that one was the Astro Farm trip. Now I've actually got some stuff that I got from Astro Farm with me now, and that's a little bit different. I just want to show you something on this camera here. If I can just turn this off. Oh, it's not working. I've got to plug it in first. Excuse me while I forgot to plug the camera in, didn't I? So we've got 48 coming in. Hi to 1, 2, 3, 4. Dutch Miss. Right, why is that not coming out? Why do these things never work? Right, I'm just going to pull that thing out because... Okay, well, hopefully we'll get this other camera working now. Let's try it, shall we? Right, let's see if this works. Nope. I think I might need to... that's the thing, you see, whenever you've got other cameras, nothing ever works properly, does it, you know? Technical issues. But anyway, I want to show you something, some special things when I get the camera working. I tell you what, I'll show you one of them on this camera now until I get the other one working. Can you see that? Can you see that? Now that is a box, and inside that box is a very little stone. Can you see it? That little stone is believed to come from the planet Mercury. It says there, a possible piece of the planet Mercury. It's tiny, isn't it? It's like a little piece of grit, but according to that, they reckon it's a fragment of a meteorite, NWA 7325. I don't know where that landed, but in this box here is believed to be a piece of the planet Mercury. How about that? Absolutely amazing. What are people saying? Right. Yeah, we've still got some good weather. Hi to Callum. We've got 60 watching now. Hi to Peter in London. Hi to 1234. Hi to Hazel. So I want to show you some of these things that I got from I got them from Sue at Astro Farm in France, and we also had the Perseid Meteor Shower. If you saw my video, I only saw two. We were out for about 3 hours and I only saw two. Can you believe that? I only saw two meteors, two Perseids. I'm so disappointed. I am really, really disappointed, folks. So I'm just typing it. Sorry, excuse me while I just type it. Well, hang on, I can't do that. So yeah, I only saw. How many did anybody else see? Because I only saw two, but I did manage to catch one on camera, which was great. And the one I caught on camera was brilliant. It was an absolute cracker. Is it true that diamonds can be found on Uranus? Well, I'm not too sure about that. According to some atlas, Atlas is more than a comet. More than a comet. Interesting. It was a nice screenshot you got. R.I.P. Jim Lovell. Pucker Life says they never saw any. Well, I'll just show you some pictures. Well, in fact, that picture there, that's an old picture that goes back to 2013. And that was a Perseid meteor streaking right through the galactic plane of the Milky Way. Can you see that? We've actually got the galactic plane of the Milky Way there, running down the screen from the top left to the bottom sort of right. And that meteor went right down the middle of it. Look at that, isn't it amazing? It's one of the best meteors I've ever seen. And I happened to catch it. I happened to catch it right on the I couldn't have caught it any better. So that was one of my best captures of a meteor. Well, there's another one. I think that was on the same night. That was on the same night. I only just managed to catch it out of the corner. I just managed to see it. It was a nice one, nice bright one. You tend to find that the meteors tend to be the brighter ones you capture. Quite a lot of them are very, very fleeting. They're very blink and you'll miss them, you know. So, yeah. Now there's one. You can always tell a meteor and not a satellite, and that's because if you look closely at this picture, I can't really zoom in, I'm afraid, but if you look closely at it, you'll see that it's kind of green on one side and sort of reddish on the other side. They start off green when they come into the atmosphere and then they turn red, and that's to do with the composition of the atmosphere, you know. So, and a satellite, lots of people take pictures of satellites and think that they're meteors, but they're not, because you can usually tell a satellite makes a very continuous line across the sky, and it's like a very even brightness, whereas a meteor, you can kind of tell it's something that's burning up. Thanks, Hazel. Yeah, we haven't got Moonies tonight, I'm afraid. Moonies is not with us, so we might be able to get a chance to come in later. Well, there's another picture of a meteor. Now, whenever I try to photograph meteors, I always try to go somewhere that's scenic. You know, I think it helps if you go somewhere. Now, this is in Wales. This is on Anglesey. And that lighthouse there is a very well photographed lighthouse. And I remember going there in August, and this was in 2023, I think, and I went with Frank. And honestly, it was a wild, wild night, and we were getting blown all over the place. Oh my goodness, the weather was terrible. We tried to camp on there. You're not really allowed to camp on there, but we did. And we went there for the peak of the meteors and the Perseid Meteor Shower, and the weather was terrible, but I managed to get one. Look, and the Milky Way as well. Well, there was no moon in the sky, you see. There was no moon. There was no moon. And that's the thing, you see. When we went out on Tuesday, the moon was up. It was already risen by the time we got to the site. The moon, by the time I got there, the moon had literally just rose. So the moon was in the way for the whole night. So it kind of just spoiled some of the, seeing some of the meteors. And it was a little bit hazy as well. And we had a few clouds rolling across as well. So, I mean, I only saw 2, which was a bit disappointing. But a lot of the other people that were there, they saw quite a few. Everybody kept seeing him and I kept missing him. So maybe because I was playing around with my camera. But yeah, anyway. Let's see if this other camera works. I don't know if it does. Let's see. I think I've got to unplug it and plug it back in again. Or maybe I've got to turn it off. I don't know. I might need to turn it off and back on again. No, it doesn't seem to be working at the moment. But anyway, yeah, so whenever we have like a meteor shower, I always try to go somewhere that's quite, that's quite scenic, and you get a good picture. You get a nice picture of the landscape. And if you're lucky enough to get a meteor, which I did there, then it makes it worth doing. So that's why I like to go out. It's always the thing about Tuesday night is that now on Tuesday night, because we had the moon out for the peak of the Perseid Meteor Shower, there wasn't really too much point in going anywhere really dark because the moon is just going to light up the sky. But we did head up to our normal viewing site, which is away. If you can get away from lights, it always helps. But that's what we did, and it was all right. It was a good laugh. I mean, we would have liked to have seen more meteors. I actually think that maybe we missed the peak a little bit. They normally have the peak nailed down almost to the hour, and I think that the peak was that morning when it was supposed to be anyway, but they might have been wrong. I don't know, they might have been wrong, because I'm sure we should have seen more meteors than we did, because the Perseid Meteor Shower is normally really good. In fact, it was the Perseid Meteor Shower which really got me into this. If I'd have gone to the Star Party 12, 13 years ago when I first went to a Star Party, and it was a Perseid Meteor watch, and I didn't see any like last night, I might not have gone back. I might have said, no, it's rubbish this, I don't want to bother with this. So it's a good job that we saw loads and loads. I saw some crackers on that night, and that was the one where I captured, not that one, this one. It was the same night that I captured this picture right here. And when I saw that, I thought, right, yeah, I'm liking this. So there you go. Yeah. You see, whenever you go out and you see something like that, it does make you want to go back out again. It makes you want to see something else. I never get bored, I never get bored of going out to star parties and things like that, So yeah. While smooching around Stellarium this morning, I came across an area called Patchy Unknown Cloud. What is this? Patchy Unknown Cloud on Stellarium. I don't know, I'll have to have a look. Let me know where it is and I'll have a look. So I will be having a quiz a bit later on. I'll be having a quiz. Let's see if this camera works, because this is... I don't know why, but I can't get this camera working. I've got another camera on here and it's just not having it. Why is it not working? Oh, that is annoying. Anyway, we'll just look at a few more pictures. Now that picture there, the picture that you're looking at now on the screen, was actually taken in Tenerife. Now I went with some friends from another astronomical society, and we went to Tenerife in August. And you're thinking, wow, what a place to go, Tenerife in August. You must have seen loads of meteors. Well, the meteor that you're looking at on the screen right now is the only one that we saw on the whole trip. And we were there for 5 days in August, and this is the only meteor that we saw. Can you believe that? So even when you go to a place like Tenerife, you're never assured of the weather. The weather was cloudy for 4 out of the 5 nights that we were there. We missed the peak. I think the peak was on the Wednesday of the week. The only, or Tuesday, the only decent day we had night was on the Friday. That was our last night, and it was clear all night. And we got some good pictures. So even going all the way to Tenerife, you can never guarantee that you're going to get clear weather. I'll tell you what we did get. We got some absolutely epic thunderstorms. In fact, we were out on the night of the peak. We were up the mountain, you know where the big volcano is. We were up there, and we were just looking at clouds. And somehow the clouds cleared enough to see this, and then they came rolling back in again. And I decided to go to sleep in the car that I had. So I parked up in a car park, and I went to sleep. And I was woken up by the most almighty bang. It was a lightning storm, a flash of lightning. Oh my goodness, it was. We had a lightning storm, and it was a lightning storm like I'd never seen before. It was unbelievable. At least I got to see something while I was out there. I didn't see much of the stars, which is what we went for, but my goodness, that was some cracking lightning storm that we saw. Is this camera gonna, you know what, I don't know what's wrong with that camera. I've set this camera up and it's just not working. What is wrong with it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to, it's just black, isn't it? Why is that? I'll try and set it up again. Yeah, so if I press that and I do that, and then I do this. Ah! It's working! It's working! Now then, you can see that, can you see? Oh, all I had to do was just, you see what we're looking at here? Has anybody ever heard of the Meteorite Men? Well, what you're looking at there is, this is what I got from Sue at Astro Farm. She gave me a load of stuff. And what we're looking at here, talking about meteorites and comets and things like that, this is a piece of an asteroid. It's a piece of Vesta. So if I just hold that up there, look, can you see? Now there's an asteroid out there called Vesta, and that is a piece of Vesta, and it was collected by the Meteorite Men. So it's a slice from the 1.7 kilogram achondrite meteorite. There's lots of different types of meteorites. You get stone meteorites, you get iron meteorites. Fell to Earth in the Sahara Desert and was recovered in 2015, and it's got a certificate of authenticity by Steve Arnold, the world famous meteorite hunter. So there you go. What do you think to that? I've got a piece of Vesta. There you go. Has anyone else out there got any meteorite? You know, I actually started to collect meteorites quite a while ago. I'd probably say, yeah, not too long after I joined, I started to collect a few meteorites. I heard a few people that were selling them, and so the way they collect these meteorites is that they go to these places in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and you get these. I think they use like a magnet or something, and they go across this area, and it collects up these things, and they can tell that the meteorite's not of this Earth because that sort of that whatever that is the makeup of the meteorite is not in that area. So that's how they know it's a meteorite, and it's come from wherever. So this particular one has come from the asteroid Vesta. Look at that. Wow, isn't that amazing? I've got a piece of a meteorite. Shall I take it out of the box? Can I take it out? No. Oh, I better not break it. But there you go. Look at that. That is a piece of an asteroid. Wow. Isn't that amazing? A piece of an asteroid. It feels like a rock that's been sliced. It's rocky. It's not made out of iron or anything. Yeah, so that's a piece of Vesta. Has anyone heard of Vesta? Nothing to do with Swan Vesta, the matches. I just want to catch up on the comments. Oh, 100. Have we got 100 people watching? Wow, that's good. Hi to Mildred. I'm sorry if I didn't say hi before. I'm not sure if my comments are up to date. Could be stealing by finding in the UK. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? How many meteorites have been found in the UK? And if you were to say use a metal detector and find one on a piece of land, do you have to share it with the landowner? What about if you find it on the beach? There must be a lot of stuff on the beach, although we get the tide coming in and out all the time, but there must be a lot of stuff. You always get these metal detectors on the beach too. Hi to Martin Goldie. So they must be finding stuff that's worth. I'm going to get myself a metal detector and I'm going to go out there and see what I can find, because I've seen so many people do it and I want to have a go. But I'll tell you what, we've had a little look at that. I'm going to put something else there now, and I want you to have a look at this. Now this is something that I've already shown. Now if you have a look at that there, they reckon that little piece in that box there, it says possible piece of the planet Mercury. Yeah? What do you think? They're not saying it's definite, but it's possible. So if you have a look there's the piece there. Can you see that? It's tiny, isn't it? But they reckon that that's a piece of Mercury. So there are bits of planets that do get, you know, when something hits them and the bits get flown off and they get thrown around the solar system, and sometimes they end up coming into Earth's atmosphere. And there you go. I won't take it out of the box because I might lose it. But that there is allegedly, according to the box, a possible piece of the planet Mercury. How about that, eh? Isn't that amazing? I've got a piece of the planet Mercury. Oh, I've got to have a drink. It's so warm. What's it like where you are? It's absolutely roasting where I am. And I've got some more stuff here. In fact, I've got a whole bag. This is what I got off Sue at Astro Farm. She gave me all this stuff here. Wasn't that nice of her? And I've got some more stuff here to show you. So if I put this down here, let's just catch up on the comments. We've got over 100 people watching. That's great. Hi to Buan. Hi to Dutch Miss. They go to the Arctic and Antarctic to find meteorites. Yeah, anywhere that's kind of untouched. You know, like a desert or any sort of flat plains that is untouched. That's where you're likely to find the meteorite. They can land anywhere. Pretty much anywhere. Most of them will land in the ocean and you'll never find them. But on land, it's somewhere that's very flat, you know, that's untouched. And I think basically what they do is they use magnets and things like that, and they pick these things up, and that's how they find them. I'll just check the comments. The weather has broken here. Paul says it's hot, blooming hot, he says. Hi to Liz Hacko. Let's see if this works. Right, have a look at this. Can you see that? Now, is this a piece of Mars? Well, that's what it says on the box. It says on the box, Mars. I don't know what tissint means. 138 milligrams. So that little stone there, in the box, is a piece of Mars. And you know, you can get something like this fairly cheap. You don't have to pay a fortune for these, you know. Something like that would probably cost about 30. I don't, you know, to be honest, I don't know. But I've actually bought meteorites similar to something like that. And I've paid usually 20 to 30 pound or something like that, you know. I mean, I remember having one that was a big. It was about the size of a fist, and it was a big stone meteorite. It must have weighed, getting on for half a kilo, and it was about the size of a fist. And it was a stone meteorite, and I paid something like £300 for that. So that wasn't cheap, but it was a big dobbing meteorite. Chocolate bars are getting smaller, yes, they certainly are. Mars, where's the wrapper? Yeah, they are. So that's a piece of Mars, yeah. They are getting. Polar caps are best to find comets. Fonzie's using his net cam. So we're doing pretty well. We've got over 100 people. If you're new to the live stream, please go in and hit subscribe. I am approaching 10,000 subscribers. So if you're new, if you're not subscribed to the live stream, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit subscribe, because we're getting very close to 10,000. I'm getting very close to 10,000 followers. M3D Thyssen is the 5th Martian meteorite that people have witnessed fall into Earth. The first since 1962. So the Thyssen meteorite, where did that land? I don't know. If anyone could tell me where it landed. I certainly love the thought of having a piece of another planet, but how can you know for sure? Well, a lot of these meteorites that I've got here do have certificates with them, like the first one I have there. Now, I've got some more here which are a bit bigger. Now I've got one here that's a bit bigger. I want to show you this, but I don't know exactly where this one is from. If I can get it out of the... can't get it out of its case. I'm just going to put it down there. And hopefully we'll be able to see it. So this one's a bit bigger, this one. Can you see that? Now that looks like an iron meteorite. It's quite a bit bigger than the first two. So now I have got some cards that go along with these, but they're all mixed up, so I need to make sure I find out which card this goes with. But that's quite a bit bigger, that one. And yeah, you can actually buy meteorites. There are places where you can buy them. I used to buy them at the fairs, because we used to go to astronomy fairs, and there was always someone there selling meteorites. And I know a few people I've bought meteorites off, but I have bought some meteorites online. I can't remember if I bought one off eBay. You can probably buy them on eBay, but you know, there are a lot of places. It says here it was Morocco where that Mars meteorite was found. Morocco. I meant to say polar caps are best to find meteors, yeah. That's what I thought. Because comets, they don't really come into the solar system. They don't really come into our atmosphere, do they? If it did, I think we'd be in trouble. If you found something on the beach, unfortunately, the Crown Estate, those royals on the shoreline, out 12 miles out into the sea. There's always something, isn't there? Don't tell them there. Don't tell them you found anything. I remember being in a churchyard once. I was in a graveyard. Well, no, it wasn't a graveyard. It was just a churchyard. And I was there, and there was a guy metal detecting, and I wasn't thinking anything of it. He was just going around with a metal. And then some guy comes along who was something to do with the church, and he was not happy about the guy metal detecting on the church ground. And he said to him something like, "Oh, you know, it's this is our property, and it's not really very gentlemanly to do your metal detecting on." So yeah, the guy that was in charge, I don't know if he was the minister or whether he just worked there or what, but he wasn't happy about the guy doing metal detecting on the church grounds. So there you go. You've got to be careful where you do it. And according to someone, if I go metal detecting on the beach and I find some treasure, I've got to tell King Charles. Could you arrange a photograph group star spotting group meet? I have done workshops. I mean, I haven't done a workshop for a while. A group workshop where I take people or people meet me somewhere nice and dark. This is from Chris Russell, and the last one I did was actually 2023. So I haven't done one of them since 2023. So maybe in the next, well, up until September, October, you never know, I might be able to just do one. I'd really like to do another one. Michael's in the house. Hi to Michael. Michael Saltzman's in the house. I'm just going to get another. So like I say, I've got quite a few. I've got another really tiny one here. I don't know what that is, but I do have a load of cards in here. But that's another tiny fragment. But there is one I want to show you. The next one I want to show you is, and I think that I've got it right, so I'm just going to put it down here. Let's see if we've got that lined up. So we're looking at some meteorites here, folks. Everything's the wrong way around here. Huh? Now you see that there? Now that meteorite in there is from Chelyabinsk. Who remembers the meteorite, the Russian one? Well, you're looking at a piece of it right there. Look at that. That is a piece of the famous Russian meteorite. The one that everybody caught on the dash cams. And I've got a piece of it right there. And that weighs 2.5 grams. It's the biggest meteorite that I've got here. The actual meteorite itself, or the weight of all of the meteorite that landed on the Earth, was 750 kilograms. This is probably one of the easiest meteorites to get hold of, because there's so many around. Yes, there is a quiz, Akash Monster. Look at that. That is a piece of the famous... Look at it. It's metal. It's iron. We all saw it, didn't we? We all saw the footage with the dash cams lighting up the sky. So that's called a chondrite, that. It's a chondrite. Chelyabinsk. 15th of February 2013. And they reckon it was more than 750 kilograms total weight that fell to Earth. 750 kilograms. And I've got a very small piece. Might be small, but it's certainly the biggest piece of meteorite that I've got out of all these. But there you go. How about that? Amazing, isn't it? I'm going to start off some people getting into meteorites now, aren't I? What do you think? Yeah? So, there you go. See, I wouldn't know where to start to buy them, but because, like I say, a lot of the meat, these were given to me by Sue at Astro Farm in France. Now, it was her husband that collected these, and I believe, I actually, he probably got them from a place called MSG Meteorites. I'm not sure if they're online or anything, but there was a guy, I think it was called Mike, and it was called MSG Meteorites, and it was always at the fairs, and that's where a lot of my meteorites came from. I bought them off people that I knew or people at clubs and things like that. I never bought anything off eBay, although you probably can buy them off eBay, you know, but I didn't. So yeah, I've got a nice collection there, but I can't sell any of these because they were very kindly given. I wouldn't sell them anyway. I'm going to keep them just to show people, and I'm taking to the club as well to show people at the club. But so I'm looking after these meteorites now. But anyway, just want to go through these pictures because that was the one taken in Tenerife, and like I say, we'll have the quiz very soon. Don't worry. We've got over 100 people in, which is great. Hi to GT7 Andy Day, just home from work at Asda. Good to see you. Andy and Julie in Oldham. Green Cat says, how do you know they're authentic? Well, you just have to trust who you buy them off, and you have to trust the paperwork that comes with them, because there is paperwork that comes with these meteorites. You always get something with them. Where do you go to buy meteorites? I'll see if I can find out, because like I say, I got them. Now, before I go any further, I just want to quickly show you. Is that a photograph of the sky? I think it might be, you know. Is that a photograph of the sky before we, at our dark sky site that we went to on Tuesday? So we went up to this place, and it's a nice site, you know. It's not in the middle of nowhere, but it's quite far from Blackpool. It's well away from all the lights, and it's a great place to go to see the sky. It's our stargazing site, our official stargazing site, and that's where we went. So, and that's what it looked like. I'm not sure if I can show you I'd like to show you the meteorite I got. I think that picture was taken on a different date. I don't think that's from the time I thought. Now this is what we get to see. If you saw my video, it was a bit like this really. The sky, as you can see the plough up there, can't you? The Big Dipper. Michael Hassal, yes, it can be. It can be a bit like that. You do get people driving up there, and then when they see a load of men with telescopes, they tend to just turn around and go back down again. But that is what the site looks like. I'm just going to try and see if I can add some more pictures, because these are the wrong pictures. Now that is what it looks like when it gets dark. Can you see that there? Just look. Look at the light pollution. That light pollution on the horizon there comes from a power station. So there's a power station there, and that throws up a heck of a lot of light pollution. Haitian power station. Yeah, it's a nuclear power station. Adamintero. Curly Whirly. I like Curly Whirly. Hazel said she lost £6. Oh. Hi from Manchester, UK. Green Cat. Bring back bar 6. So that's what we can see from the site, and it's not going any further, is it? Now then, can you spot the meteor? This is the full picture. I haven't cropped it. Look carefully, can you see it? That was a very, very fleeting meteor, but I managed to catch it. And I managed to catch it just in the right place as well, pretty much in the middle of the photograph. In the clear sky, I caught the whole of the meteor. I caught the whole of it. Now, unfortunately, I can't zoom in on this. Hang on. I'll just see if I can zoom in on this. So there you go. That's it there. That's a meteor. That's about as much as I can zoom in, I'm afraid. But I managed to catch it. I'm so glad that I managed to catch it, because I only saw 2 on the night, and it's not easy to capture meteors. It really isn't. It's not easy to capture them. They tend to be to the right of you, to the left of you, behind you. Wherever your camera's pointing, the meteors always seem to go the opposite way, you know, so they're really, really hard to catch. So I'm so glad to catch it. And you can see, if you look at that line there, if you look at it, you can actually see that it's got a point at the end. There's like a bit where it just seems to just blow up. And I'm talking, this will have happened in a split second. We're talking like a very, very small grain of, like a bit of sand or something like that, like a grain of sand. You know, that's all we're talking about here with these meteors. That's all that is there, folks. It's basically just a little piece of grit or whatever that's come into the atmosphere, and it burned up. And it didn't even leave a trail, because if I go on to the next picture, there's nothing there, and there's no vapor trail. Green Cat says, I caught 2 on Rio length security camera. Yeah, you can capture them on security cameras, because if it's a bright enough one, the security camera will pick it up. And a lot of these security cameras are night vision anyway, aren't they? So they're quite good at picking up faint stuff. So, yeah. So that's what I managed to kill. We got a starter there. I don't know how that got in. But anyway, that's what I got. So, right, I think it's now time for the quiz now. We're on to 22. We've had a look at some meteorites. I'll just show you that meteorite again. Oh, it's not working now. Oh, right, there it is. So there you go, a meteorite. Look at that. Hey, look up this meteorite, because you will get hold of one of these quite easy. And these are not expensive. For something like that, well, that's quite a big piece. I think I paid about £25 for one that was about quite a bit smaller than that. But it may be looking a fair bit for something like that. Maybe the better part of £100. I don't know. I might be wrong. But that's a fair chunk of meteorite, that. And it's the famous Chelyabinsk meteorite, the one that everyone in Russia, well, not everyone, but, you know, a lot of people caught it on dashcam, didn't they? We all saw it, didn't we? You can watch the videos on YouTube of all of the people seeing it coming through the sky, and then all of a sudden you get this massive sonic boom. You get this pressure wave, and they're watching this meteor they're watching it going across the sky like that, and the next minute, boom, and all the windows go out and the car alarms go off, because it took so long for the boom, for the explosion to get. It was so high up when it vaporized, when it blew up into bits, that pressure wave took so long to get down, that they were watching it for ages before that managed to get down. And it took out a load of windows, didn't it? Injured a few. Didn't kill anybody, thankfully. But it blew a lot of windows out and set some car alarms off. But anyway, are we ready for the quiz? Type 1 if you're ready for the quiz. And don't forget, if you're new to this channel, if you're new to this live stream, and you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'm almost at 10,000. I want to get to 10,000. So type 1 if you're ready for the quiz. Chondrite. Well, we've got one's coming in. 1 cross each. Sharon Morris. Liz Hacko. Now this quiz is about meteors and stuff like that. It's based around meteors. Description: 100% fusion crusted individual. Ah, there it is. I've got the website on there. That's where it's come from. MSG, I mentioned them. Make a note of that. msgmeteorites.co.uk. He's good. I think his name's Mike. And we used to see him at the fairs. I've not been to a fair for a while, but if you're interested in meteorites, make a note of that address there. MSG, and there's like a dash, meteorites.co.uk. And just tell him that I sent you. I don't know if he'll remember me, but just let him know that I sent you, and he might get a deal. Right, okay, it's time for the quiz. It's time for the quiz. Here we go. Here we go. Based around meteorites. Okay. Question number 1. What is a meteor? This is a bit tricky. You know, I had to look this up. What is a meteor? So what exactly is a meteor? I had to check on these, you know. I had to check on them. We're actually looking at one now. Hi to Darren Headley. Susie Cat says, fine specimen. Now my chat box has gone really. Tunguska. Yeah, there was one in Tunguska, wasn't there? Took out a load of trees, didn't it? Yeah. Seven Sisters lining up as something you've heard of. I don't know about that. There is a bit of a lineup of Venus and Jupiter in the morning. It's a bit of a tricky question, this one, actually. I had to look it up myself. Stephen Smith says a rock that hasn't hit the Earth. I think a lot of people are coming up with good answers. Comet dust does not enter into the Earth's atmosphere. Green Cat says dust. I think everybody's kind of right in a way. It is a little piece of dust. It's actually, you know, when it burns up in the atmosphere, that's what they call a meteor. So when you see something burn up in the atmosphere, that is a meteor. Something that burns up in the atmosphere, yeah. A bit of cosmic debris which totally burns up in the atmosphere and doesn't reach the ground, says Martin. Debris from a comet tail. It could be. So whoever said that is right, you know, because it's something that burns up in the atmosphere. So what we're trying to do here is just try and suss out these different terms. So what is a meteoroid? I had to look this one up as well. I had an idea what it was. What is a meteoroid? So I did have to admit I had to look these up before I did them, because I wasn't completely sure. They have all these terms for things in astronomy, and sometimes they're I don't know, the way they define things. It's like in 2006 they decided to demote Pluto as a planet. The reason they did that is because they kept finding all these other objects beyond Pluto which were not as big as Pluto but still fair size, and they thought, hang on a minute, we're finding all these other things that are like Pluto beyond it. We can't keep calling them planets, can we? So why don't we just sack Pluto off as a planet, because it's way too small. It's so small, it's unbelievable. It's only about as big as the moon. Why don't we sack it off as a planet? We'll call it a dwarf planet, and then we'll call the rest of this stuff. We'll call them trans-Neptunian objects beyond the orbit of Neptune, which is our most outer planet. Now, because Pluto was demoted, they said, right, we're going to sack Pluto off. It's now a dwarf planet, and anything that's beyond anything that's beyond Neptune in orbit is going to be known as a trans-Neptunian object. So there you go. There you go. So, right, okay, so the answer to that is, again, it's a small piece of space dust. Frank in Blackpool's here. A small lump of rock flying through space, yeah. Part of a bigger piece, yeah. And a meteorite which breaks through the atmosphere, yeah. Puck Alive, got it, yeah. Liz Hacko, rock, yeah. It is a rock, yeah, in space, yeah. Yeah. It's hard for me to tell who got it first, but if you said rock in space, that's what it is. That's before it comes into the atmosphere. A meteoroid is a small rock, maybe something quite, could be up to about 3 foot, something like that. And when it comes into the atmosphere, it becomes a meteor. Now, third question, what is a meteorite? It's a specific definition. In fact, we've just been looking at them, haven't we? So how do you define a meteorite? How do you actually define what a meteorite is? And we're looking at one right now from Russia. Frankie in Blackpool's getting the last few minutes of the quiz. Was the sunset any good? Sunset's getting a lot earlier now, isn't it? Well, it looks like we've got an answer. It looks like Martin's got the answer first. Mick DC could be right, because it's one which breaks the atmosphere. A meteor that hits Earth. Stuff that hits the ground from space, says Frank in Blackpool. Meteor that exploded and landed on Earth. Yeah, so a meteorite is basically started as a meteoroid, became a meteor when it came through the atmosphere, and then it was landed on the Earth, and then it becomes a meteorite. So whatever's left of it, if it's not vaporized completely, they usually break up into lots of little bits. They come in as a big object and then get broken up. It's like this one here. It's like, well, I'll just put it on for you. It's like that one there. That will have started off as a much, well, it was massive. It was huge. It was absolute. The actual meteorite itself was massive. Total known weight, it says there, 100 kilograms. Well, actually, no, it said that they reckon it was more than 750 kilograms. So that was absolutely huge. So yeah, a meteorite is something that actually lands on the Earth, and you pick it up and you collect it, just like that one there. So that's a meteorite. So there you go. We've sussed out what a meteoroid is, a meteor is, and a meteorite. So there you go. They're all pretty much the same thing. It just depends where they are. So I think everybody's not done too bad. I've actually been to Meteor Crater in Arizona. There's a place in Arizona where they've got this massive big meteor. Oh, it's a big massive crater. It's about a mile in diameter. And there was a meteorite that hit it. And it's the best preserved meteor crater, or meteorite crater. Well, they call it Meteor Crater. And I wondered, why do they call it Meteor Crater? I don't know. Shouldn't it be called Meteorite Crater? But it's called Meteor Crater, or the Barringer Crater, because there was a guy called Barringer that owned it or bought it or something like that, decided to mine it. They couldn't find hardly any trace of the meteorite that made this massive mile wide. It pretty much vaporized. In fact, it probably vaporized before it even hit the Earth, and it was the pressure wave that caused the big crater. So how are we doing? But we're not doing too bad. We've still got 100 people watching. The quiz hasn't scared people off. We've got question number 4. What is an asteroid? Or how do you define an asteroid? And if you've watched Star Wars or Star Trek, you've probably seen them flying through a few asteroid belts. Yeah, amazing that it just missed the visitor centre, yeah. I know. I went to the visitor centre and they've actually got a piece of it in there as well. It's absolutely huge. You wouldn't be able to pick it up, it's that heavy. Yeah, it was the biggest piece of the meteor that they could find. I don't even know where they found it. It might not have been anywhere near the crater. A large rock in orbit around the sun. A large space rock, yeah. M3D187. Martin got it first. Frank in Blackpool says chunk of rock orbiting the sun, yeah. Hi to Helen Tack. Yeah, so an asteroid is basically just a big rock that's bigger than a meteoroid. So it's significantly bigger than a meteoroid, and just orbits the inner solar system. So now, what is a comet? Well, we've all heard about comets, haven't we? Did anyone see the great comet of 2020? Remember when we were all locked up, all locked down, limited from going out, and we had this comet going in the sky? It was like a harbinger of doom at the time. 2020, but what actually is a comet? And how different is that from an asteroid? How do you define a comet against an asteroid? A rock which orbits but doesn't hit the Earth. Well, you're right there, Akash Monster. I'm at the age where I suffer a bit from asteroids. I used to like that game, Asteroids, at the arcade. It was one of those games with the vector graphics. Oh, I love that game. Do 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 do, and then you could do you could boost your rocket thing, and then if you hit too many asteroids, the big ones, you had all these little ones, and they go really fast, and then it was a nightmare. Snowball going around the sun. Well, Frank in Blackpool has got it right. A ball of ice rock. Mick DC got in there first, I think. Orbiting the sun on large elliptical orbits. A dirty snowball. A lump of rock and a gas in an elliptical orbit, says Goldie. Cat's Ruli's in the house. Yeah, so the difference between an asteroid and a comet is that comets actually come from way further out in the solar system, and they have these massive elliptical orbits. They reckon they come from the Oort cloud. Now, they're not sure if there is such a thing as the Oort cloud. It's theoretical, but they originate from a place called the Oort cloud, which is way, way out in the far icy depths of the solar system, and they actually contain a lot of ice. And the reason why they show up when we see them in the sky, and 2020 when Neowise, Halley's Comet, Hale-Bopp, if any of you saw these comets, you know that they light up. They have a tail, and the tail faces away from the sun. The sun lights up the tail, and that's the main tail, but they also have another tail as well, which is called an iron tail, and that goes a different direction. That actually goes the direction which the comet is going, whereas the dust tail goes in the direction away from the sun. So that's a comet. A comet is basically an asteroid, like an asteroid, but it's got a lot of ice on it, and that ice sublimates when it comes into the inner solar system from way out where it originates from, and they have these massive orbits, and that's why a comet is different to an asteroid, and they light up. Now, there are some asteroids that can do that. There are some asteroids that do have a little bit of ice that can light up like a comet, but are comets electric? Well, I used to wonder about comets. I used to think, what is in that coma? And it's basically just the sun lighting up and causing the ice to sublimate, to melt, and form like an atmosphere around it. And that leaves a trail behind it, which the sun lights up. So I've had a few people get that right. Frank in Blackpool, I think. Comet comes from the outer solar system, that's right. A large ball of ice with a wide orbit, yeah. Yeah. So there you go, we did pretty well on that. I never saw Halley's Comet. But anyway, on to the next question. In what month is the Geminid meteor shower? The next major meteor shower, I'm really hoping that we have a better meteor shower than the Perseids, because the Perseids, for me, I don't know, I'm just disappointed. Next year I think I might go somewhere. Well, I don't know if I want to go to Tenerife though, because I've already been to Tenerife in August and it wasn't very good. Frank says that Halebop was spectacular. Was climbing for a week and saw it every night while cooking. Well, I never saw Halebop either. What was it doing? So when are the Geminids? No one's got it right yet. Mid-December, Goldie, yeah. David Howard, December. Yeah, the Geminids is the next big meteor shower. Now we have some more in between, but the Geminids is probably the best meteor shower of the year. I think they're better than the Perseids, but they're going to happen in the middle of December, around about the same dates as well. I think it's the 12th, 13th of December is going to be the peak of the Geminid meteor shower. And I think that Geminids are way, way better. I think they're better than the Perseids. The only thing is, it's in the middle of December, so it's not, I don't think we've sat out there in t-shirts looking at the Geminids. But I've always seen some cracking Geminids. They're really, really good. The weather's not likely to be as good in December, is it? But yeah, the Geminids are in December. Next question. In what month is the Lyrid meteor shower? There's quite a few meteor showers, through the year. Some of them I don't bother. I don't bother with all of them. So what month is the Lyrid? Does anyone know? How do you cook as you're watching meteors? That's a good question, Sir Fonty Das. Sharon says May. Stephen says June. Skies always seem crisper in December when we get clear skies. Well, that's right. I think it is a little bit clearer in the middle of winter than summer. You don't tend to get that haze. Now, Goldie said April. And that's the right answer. The Lyrid meteor shower is in April. And the reason why they call it the Lyrid is because the meteors come from the constellation. They don't come from the constellation, but they come from the area of sky which is where Lyra is. I can hear something rumbling. Oh, well, that's right. But anyway, so what was I going to say? Yeah, the Perseids actually come from the direction of the constellation of Perseus. So that's how they get the name. It just so happens to be the part of the sky where they come from. So that's how these meteor showers get the name. Here we got 3 more to go. What is the first meteor shower of the year? And it's a pretty good one as well. I think it's a pretty good one, this. So what is the first meteor shower of the year? You're right there. That's what it was, Mouth Charger. I've no idea what someone's ringing me for at this time, but there you go. I didn't know the number, so I didn't answer it. Dutch Miss says I'm hungry. A ghost. I was really wondering what that was. Honestly. 14th of December, waxing crescent moon. Yeah, it's looking good for the Geminids. Who was the first to get quadrantids? It looks like Frank in Blackpool was the first, followed by David, Goldie. Frank in Blackpool cheated. So David Howard wins that one. So, yeah, the quadrantids happen in January. I think it's the 4th or 5th of January. Now, the other question is, Why are they called the quadrantids? Now, I mentioned before that meteor showers are named after the constellations which happen to be in the area of sky where the meteors come from. They always come from the same direction. So I mentioned Perseids are from Perseus, Lyrids are from Lyra, Geminids are from, guess what? Gemini. They don't come from all the way from Gemini for the star, but they come from the area of sky where Gemini happens to be. So where do quadrantids come from? I've never heard of a constellation called Quadrant. This is another one that I had to check up. Orionids. Yeah, the Orionids as well. Yeah, we've got the Orionids is another meteor shower. They come from the quadrant, says Stephen Smith. Well, there was a constellation which is no longer. They got rid of it. When they decided on the 88 constellations, they said we're going to get rid of this constellation, and it was called Quadrans Muralis. Quadrophenia. So they've actually got rid of the constellation where the quadrantids come from. So now you need to look towards Boots the herdsman. Now Boots the herdsman is how can I show you where? I'll show you where it is. Let's just go onto the browser. Right. I want to show you where so we're looking at the sky here, and I just want to show you where Boots is. So we'll zoom in on the plough. Can you see the plough there? There's the plough. Let's put the... So there you go, there's a major. We all know that, don't we? Now if we come round here, we get to see this. Can you see that star there, Arcturus? Well, that's a very, very bright star. You cannot miss it. If you look towards the west, if you go out now, you will see that star, Arcturus. And that is at the base of this constellation, which looks like a kite. And that's called Boots. And this is where, roughly where, the Quadrans Muralis constellation is. And that's where the quadrantids come from. They come from this area. I'm not sure exactly what part of that area, but they roughly come from that area of the sky. So you can see there, that's Boots, and that's called the herdsman. And it looks a bit like a kite. And it's pretty easy to see as well. If you look out, follow the handle of the plough, follow that handle down to Arcturus, arc to Arcturus. So what you do is you arc on the handle of the plough down to Arcturus, and then you see this kite. And you cannot miss that star, it's so bright. So there you go, that was where quadrants used to be. What time is it? I'm always going over time, aren't I? It's getting on for 9:10 now, I can't help myself, can I? Is it better to look slightly away from the radiant point when looking for meteors? Yes. If you're out looking for meteors and you're looking towards the radiant, where they come from, you're going to see them come towards you. So you're probably better looking to a 90-degree angle either way side, because you're going to see longer trails. If you're looking straight at the radiant, you tend to see them coming towards you. You're probably not going to get the best effect, so it's probably better to look. That was a good question, that, by Mick DC. Yeah. Arcturus is the only one I remember. If you go out tonight, look towards the west, it's getting a bit low now, you will see Arcturus. So let's have a look. Whereabouts is it? How high up is it at the moment? According to this, I'm just going to show you how to find Arcturus. Now, at 9:30, right? There it is. Oh, you'll see Arcturus, no bother. There it is. Let's see how high up it is. Look at it, it's way up there, right? You cannot fail to spot it. It is a third of the way up the sky. Look out for Arcturus. Look towards the west. When I'm finished with this live stream, go outside and see it. There it is, Arcturus. It's at the end of Boots, the kite. It's it's like a kite. So go out and see if you can see that. I've got one more question. Mooney's Daydream is in the house. Got one more question. What is the largest meteorite ever found? I had to look this one up because I didn't know. I thought I knew, but I was wrong. So what is the largest meteorite ever found, and where did they find it? Oh look, we've got Mars there. If you stay out a bit later, you get to see Mars. Look, I don't think Mars gets very high up though. There's is that Mars? Oh, hang on. Why are we not? Oh, it's set, hasn't it? Yeah, you can't see Mars. It's lost in the glare. But if you happen to be up early in the morning, you get to see Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter and Venus are quite close together. In fact, they're in Gemini. Can you see? They're both in Gemini, aren't they? Venus and Jupiter. If anyone's up early, 3:30 in the morning until 4:30 maybe. They're a bit higher up. The sun's starting to get going. Look out for Jupiter and Venus. They're fairly close together, and they're in Gemini. So, have we got any? I'm just checking the answers on this one. Hobart in Namibia. So the answer is Hobart, and it was in Namibia, and they reckon it was 66 tons. Is that right? 66 tons. Paul says there's too much light pollution in Chorley. Oh my God, I just saw a bat flying past. Not seen those since I moved in 26 years ago. That long since you've seen a bat? I saw a bat last week when we were up there. In fact, I think I caught a bat on the video. If you look at my video that I did from our stargazing at the Perseid, I think I caught a bat flying past the camera. So the answer is the Hobart meteorite, and it was found in the desert of Namibia in Africa, and it was 66 tons. First person to get it was David Howard and Goldie. Not sure of the name, but I think it was found in Greenland. Greenland is a hotbed of meteorites because there's nobody lives in Greenland. It's pretty much just all landscape and there's no one there, so it's a good place to look for them, isn't it? Anywhere where there's no people, you know. So that's it. Western Astronomy says Venus-Jupiter conjunction counts a good fortune for all. Right, that's it for this live stream. Thanks for everyone for joining in. I'm a little bit over time. We've still got a decent amount of people watching. I didn't scare people off with the quiz. But anyway, I'm going to leave you there now. Thanks for watching. If you haven't seen my video, that was the first video that I've done on my channel since the end of May. 2.5 months. So I need to get out and do some more videos for you, and I will do. So thanks for everyone for joining in. Thanks for the mods. Thanks everyone for turning up. Thanks to Cat's Rule. Woo! Look at that. $10. That is amazing. I'm no good at quiz, but I appreciate your efforts. Thanks so much. Everyone say thanks to Cat's Rule for that at the end there. Thanks so much. Thanks again to the mods. You know, I wasn't sure because I didn't do the live stream last week. And I thought, oh, I don't know, you know, because I couldn't do the live stream last week because I was busy last week. There was no way I could do it. What was I doing last week? I can't even remember what I was doing. I know we had the air... Oh, it was to do with the air show, wasn't it? I was busy with the air show and things like that. So I wasn't sure if I was even going to do it today. And I didn't set it up until fairly late. But I did do it in the end. And like I say, It's still a little bit too light to do anything outside, but hopefully it won't be too long before I get outside and do another live stream outside, and hopefully it'll be somewhere with a better signal than I did last time. Maybe a moonrise or something like that. We'll get outside, because I like to be outside and do the live streams, so that's what we'll do. Mouse charger air show, you're right, yeah. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to go now, and I think I'm going to get myself a cup of tea, I think, and I will see you all on the next video. So, bye everyone.